fellow backpackers. It's April 5th today, and I thought I would do a video to update everyone on snow conditions in the Sierra and some planning things that are going to be impacted by the high snow levels this year in 2017. So April 1st in California, we always do snow surveys. We count everything out here. And April 1st is the last one they do the manual measurement. So I have the latest figures here. And typically the reason they stop doing them after April 1st is because that's when traditionally snow melt is at its highest, or snowpack is at its highest. That may not be true this year, but here are the latest totals. So this came out on April 1st, the Northern Sierra, which is maybe the very northern tip of the start of the Muir Trail. But Northern Sierra is at 147% of normal. Central Sierra, which would be Yosemite area, is at 175% of normal, and the Southern Sierra is at 164% of normal. Now, I said in a normal year, Friday and Saturday we're expecting another 3 feet of snow in the Sierra. So we're gonna be dealing with snow. How much we don't know, because even now it's impossible to predict the snow melt in the spring. We could have a warm spring and not get any more snow for most of the season, and the passes could clear out relatively quickly. There is a lot of snow this year though. Or we could have a couple of cold snaps and some later snows. It's the later snows that actually impact us more. So keep an eye on the forecast. But right now we're at 164% if you combine all three. For comparison, in 2011, on April 1st, we were at 178%. So we were actually slightly behind. With this next storm, will probably be the equivalent of 2011. And I did some hiking in the Sierras in 2011. I was in the Ray Lakes Loop, and I went over Kearsarge Pass and Glen Pass on the very last week of July. And there was quite a bit of snow. Glen Pass was a little hairy on the north sides. But I talked to other backpackers who were on the trail. They said May there was a bear, and kind of scary on the north side. I'm thinking if we have an average melt out this year, the passes are going to have snow into early August. Nothing to worry about. You'll be able to get over them, but I want to give you some tips on how to travel safely. So for those of you that got your May and June permits and wondered how you were able to win the lottery, it's because the people who know the Sierra know that you're going to be hiking mostly on snow. So I would try to start my travel about mid-August, but the problem with that is it's going to force a lot of people into a smaller window, and we all know that the demand is really high on the JMT. This information is for anywhere in the Sierra, basically on the snow travel, but the JMT permits, a lot of people that got those June permits and May permits are having to rethink. So they're all going to be squeezed into a shorter period of time. So now if you do have a May permit and a June permit, you better know what this is right here. These are strap-on crampons. The reason you would want to strap them on, you're not going to carry a boot heavy enough to put on the clip-ons crampons. Now, if you don't know how to use these, you shouldn't be considering going out into the middle of the Sierra with something you're not familiar with. And the other thing about crampons, these strap-on ones are made for ascending straight up a hill. They're not meant for traversing a slope sideways because they'll tend to fall off and they're really dangerous. So I wouldn't even bring these because there's only a few small sections of trail where you would have to use these. And typically the snowfields you're crossing on the JMT that are on the passes, some of the approaches to the north side of the passes are straight up, but a lot of snow slopes are long runouts and you're traversing them sideways. So you don't want to use crampons because you're going to be sideways, they could slip out. So what you're going to do on that, to be safe, do you bring one of these? Again, it's a useless tool if you don't know how to self-arrest instinctually as soon as you start falling. If you don't know how to do it immediately, you're just carrying dead weight. So I would carry this if it was really, we got a cold snap and there was a lot of ice in like May. Thing is, in that time frame, the snow tends to be really soft. So you're talking about more about post holing. It hasn't consolidated yet. This is more after it heats up and snow forms, ice forms on the top of the snow. So really early season stuff, May, because the snow is soft, you're gonna want something like this. These are actually really good snowshoes for, these aren't your traditional snowshoes. These are actually made for climbing. You can actually set them for going up hills. So your boots is actually tilted upwards. But again, do you want to snowshoe 220 miles? But if you're going to May and June, you better know how to use these. These are kind of specially made for mountaineering over regular snowshoes. So given all that, for safe snow travel, there's just those short sections, like the south side of Forester Pass comes to mind. The north side of Glen Pass and north side of Mather Pass are some of the more hairy passes, and they tend to have what I mentioned, those long runouts, and they can be icy. Now there's just short sections. They should have boot tracks in them from the PC tiers. You should be able. Here's what I would do, but again, I have some experience with this. I'm going to take my hiking poles without the snow baskets. Remember to bring your snow baskets this year, because when the snow softens, these become kind of useless when they sink down in the snow. So you put your snow basket on. But when you're crossing something dangerous, you want your snow basket off. So what you're going to do, you're going to plunge this into the snow. So that's kind of an anchor. Take a step carefully, and then take the next step, and then plunge this in again. You do that with both poles. So make sure these are planted in. You're kind of using them as an ice axe. And again, if you did slip, you have a slight chance of self-arresting with these by digging these into the snow as you're falling with all your weight on them. So that's it on the snow. So let's hope for a warm early season and things thaw out. Now, snow conditions change. Early season, snow is softer. When it consolidates, you got to be careful with how you go over passes. You're going to set up yourself to go over passes in the mornings, because you want to travel on hard snow. Once the snow softens, when it warms up around noon, you're post-holing and you can be sinking 2 or 3 feet on every step, and it's miserable, trust me. So try to get over those passes in the morning. And same goes with stream crossings. If you come to a tough stream crossing that seems too high to cross safely, go up and down the stream, look for a safe place to cross. Don't always think this because there's a log across, that's the best place to cross. It might not be. It might be a dangerous place in case you fall in it, especially if it's wet or icy. Camp there, wait till the morning, the flows go down substantially overnight, get up at sunrise, even a little before sunrise, and cross right first thing in the morning, and you'll be able to get across. So again, for comparison, in 2011 when I was on the Ray Lakes Loop, the beauty of it was there was a lot less people on the trail. One of the few groups I ran into was the mile and a half people who were making that movie. So check their movie out. That gives a good idea of probably what this season's probably going to look like. So there's other problems with the high snow levels. I'm trying not to scare people away, but I want you to be realistic. In 2011, the mile and a half people told me that it was a 7-mile walk through snow to get up to the top of Muir Pass. So in anywhere before mid-July, you're probably going to have miles and miles of snow travel. So you better have your navigation skills down. You better be able to tell where the trail is. If you haven't done this trail before, you're probably not going to be able to navigate. You can guess, but there's a lot of times there's boot tracks, but sometimes near an approach to a pass, you'll see several trails going off different directions. So you might be following somebody that was lost. So just be aware of that and know how to navigate. So the other problem we have with high snow this year is the logistics of resupplying. So this is the latest information I have from Muir Trail Ranch, which I like to resupply at Muir Trail Ranch. It's at the midpoint and I can carry enough food to get me all the way the last 110 miles. But if you're going to be going through snow, it's going to be harder to get those 15-mile days in. It's slower on snow travel and stream crossings, and so be aware of that. You might have to exit out over Kearsarge Pass to do a resupply to get that last bit. So MTR is saying right now that they're probably not going to open until July. So that's going to be a big resupply problem for people. But check their website. They were supposed to have a meeting this week on with the Forest Service about how their logistics are impacted about getting their resort open. So they're supposed to update their website. Go Google their website, Muir Trail Ranch, and I think it says backpacking info. They have a headline there, and they haven't updated it yet. But they close at September 15th. So a lot of people are going to be going later this year, so you're going to need to be aware of when these places close. Usually MTR closes September 15th. They're saying now that they're going to try and stay open later to help out hikers, and they're going to have a really short season as it is. And they know there's going to be a lot of people coming through late in the season. But you do have Vermilion Valley Ranch to resupply it. So they're supposed to be open May 15th to October 15th. But they also have a problem. They have this crazy road. Everybody needs to drive on this road once in their life. It's called Kaiser Pass Road. It comes in on the west side of the Sierra, and it's 1 mile. It's 1 lane wide on this edge of a cliff, windy ass road for 15 miles, and it's at 9,000 foot elevation. So they're gonna have to keep that cleared. So we'll see. I'm not positive about their May 15th opening, but that's gonna be your option if you're hiking before July to get a resupply. So that's going to leave you a little longer to go. So you're going to have to either look at a packer resupplying you, or probably resupplying out over Kearsarge Pass to Onion Valley and get into Independence to resupply. And check out the Mount Williamson Resort. They are a very hiker-friendly motel that does resupplies, and check out their website. They're a good option for that. So even Tioga Pass, where the backpackers campground is, where there's the store and the post office where a lot of people send their resupplies. Tioga Road in 2011 didn't open till June 18th. So it was a pretty late opening. And the store most likely won't open probably till July. The campground's supposed to open this year in July 15th. So there's going to be a lot of snow there. The problem is they don't necessarily don't open the campground because it's got snow. It's just they have to clean up all the damage from all the snow every year. So if you have a car, you could drop off a resupply in one of the bear boxes if Tioga Pass Road is open, and you could do the same at Onion Valley. That's a lot of driving around, but you could leave a resupply, a well-marked resupply, saying when you're going to pick it up, with your name and all that information on there. So that's an option if you have a car, but I know a lot of you are taking buses, and I'm going to give you some information on the transportation options too. So the National Park website gives updates on the Tioga Pass Road. I would guess about mid-June is probably when they're going to open it, depending on the weather. Even the roads down south are impacted. Red's Meadow Road, they're supposed to open mid-June, so keep that in mind if you're using Red's Meadow as a resupply. They've got so much snow down there that the Devil's Postpile campground, it's a smaller one right around the Devil's Postpile monument. There's 20 campsites there. They've already updated their website saying we're not even bothering opening this campground, it's just trashed. There is like 120 other campgrounds around there, and the Red's Meadow resupply area will be open, and you can camp there. So just be forewarned. The shuttle that gets you from Mammoth down into Red's Meadow is supposed to open June 18th. So keep an eye on those. So you're going to have to go to these websites as your trip approaches and check out the conditions. So if you're northbounder starting from Cottonwood Pass or Horseshoe Meadows area, Horseshoe Meadows Road right now is closed. There's a big slide. They don't have an opening date. They'll probably get it open because it's a really important thing for the local economy. It's a priority, but there's a lot of snow up there, so check the conditions of that. Even the road, Whitney Portal Road, is always sometimes late opening on because there's a lot of rocks and stuff falling. But right now, I've heard there's a couple of slides. shouldn't be an issue. So let's talk about transportation. So since a lot of people are going to be going later in the year, you got to be aware of the transportation options if you don't have a car. So it's easy to check the road conditions just by going into Caltrans. Caltrans is a site for the highways. Because there's going to be a lot of people, Yards is never full. They drive big, very nice, luxurious buses. But ESTA, Eastern Sierra Transit Authority, I would recommend getting a reservation on their buses. These buses are great, but they have weird schedules. So again, check their websites, but I'll go over their schedules really quick. Yards runs typically through September 29th. They start on May 15th on Highway 140. It's May 15th to September 29th. That's when you're going to come in, connects to the Amtrak station in Merced. So if you're flying in and taking Amtrak, that one shouldn't be impacted because that doesn't have to go over any high passes. The one going over Tioga Pass, that's the 395 route. That's if you want to drop a car or catch a bus back at the end and head back to the valley, connecting between Yosemite Valley and Lone Pine, which is at below Whitney Portal. That you have to take the ESTA bus and the Yards bus, so you have to look at their schedules. The problem with all these people going late in the year, be aware that Yards on the 395 route, starting in September 1st, they only run on weekends. So it makes it hard to make your connections. Up through August, they run every day. Whenever they start, we'll see how they stay. They'll start as soon as they can start getting over Tioga Pass. So when Tioga Pass opens, the Yards bus will start running. And that runs between Mammoth Lakes, and you can get all the way to Yosemite Valley. Now the ESTA buses, they have a weird schedule too. They run Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the northbound one that can get you from Lone Pine to Mammoth or Lee Vining to connect with Yards to get back to Yosemite Valley. But they don't run on weekends. So that's a weird connection. If you go south to Lancaster, they want to run Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So there is another way around to get between Lone Pine and Mammoth. They run these daily buses. These ones run every day, Monday through Friday, but not Saturday, Sunday. There's what's called the Mammoth Express bus that goes between Mammoth and Bishop Monday through Friday. And then there's an express bus that goes between Lone Pine and Bishop Monday through Friday. So you can take one of those buses. They run 3 buses a day, I believe. And then you can take one from Lone Pine to Bishop, make the connection. Then you can get to Mammoth. Then you can get on the Yards. So that's going to be a pain in the butt. But just be aware of all that stuff. Be careful with all the snow. If you're not familiar with snow travel, please familiarize yourself. Think about getting a tracking device like a spot if you're going solo, especially because if you fall off a slope and break your leg and you're by yourself, that would be a very uncomfortable situation. Tell your loved ones where you're going to be. How about some good news? The mosquitoes won't be out until all the snow goes away. But of course there's bad news on that too. Usually mosquitoes kind of dry out this year in mid-August, but I believe they're going to be with us most of the summer because there's going to be a lot of water in the Sierra this year. So safe travels, and pray for less snow and warm weather in the spring. Us Californians, we love it. We need as much as we can get. So enjoy the Sierra. The snow is beautiful, and if you do get out there, it's a different experience in the snow than it is when it's clear, and it's all good. Maybe think about even shortening your trip or having an out in case you decide after 30 miles of snow travel you don't wanna or can't make it all the way. So put those into your plans so you know you're totally prepared. You have to be more prepared this year than usual. Unless you're in mid-August, you should be fine. You'll have some snow travel in the passes, but other than that, happy trails.